Morning, honey. Coffee's ready, I called from the kitchen, juggling my laptop bag and the child's backpack. Thanks, love, she replied from the dining table, flipping her hair with that effortless charm that always made my heart skip. You're running late again. I'm always running late, I said, trying to sound casual, though my stomach tightened with a strange unease I couldn't name. Did Jamie eat breakfast? Almost. He wanted pancakes, but I promised him cereal today. Her smile was easy, practiced, like a mask. I wanted to believe it was genuine. I poured my coffee and set a plate in front of our son. Don't forget your math homework. I won't, Jamie mumbled between bites. He looked up with wide eyes. Daddy, can we go to the park later? Of course, buddy. If mommy doesn't have plans. I looked at her casually, but she was already scrolling on her phone, thumbs flying. I paused. Everything okay? I asked. Oh, yes. Just emails. She glanced up briefly, eyes too bright, then back to the screen. I'll be ready soon. I nodded, trying to shake the small knot of doubt in my chest. Okay, just wanted to check. After breakfast, I lingered a second near the doorway. You'll be home for dinner, right? She laughed lightly. Of course. Don't worry, I'll be back. You know me. Her eyes met mine for a heartbeat, then slid away. That small hesitation, it shouldn't have mattered, but it did. I waved and left, telling myself I was overthinking. My life was good. I had a successful career, a loving wife, a happy child. Everything I worked for, it felt solid, unshakable. And yet, something whispered unease in the quiet corners of my mind. Later that night, I returned home, tired and distracted. Jamie was asleep, tucked into his blanket, murmuring something about dreams. I smiled and kissed his forehead. Then I noticed her phone lying face up on the counter. My hand itched with curiosity, and before I could stop myself, I glanced at the screen. A single message froze me in place. Can't wait to see you again. Tonight. I blinked. Blinked again. My heart hammered. I scrolled, each message a stab, intimate, secretive, deliberate. The woman I loved, the woman I trusted, was someone else entirely. I sank into a chair, phone shaking in my hand. No, this can't be real, I whispered. Her voice from the bedroom startled me. Are you okay? I turned quickly. Yeah, just, tired. Lies tumbled from my lips before I could stop them. My mind raced, betraying me with visions of betrayal. Coffee? Or something stronger, she teased, unaware of the storm brewing inside me. I forced a laugh. Coffee's fine. Thanks. Sitting alone at the table, I stared at the phone like it held the answers to a puzzle I didn't want to solve. My world, the perfect illusion I'd built, shattered in a few lines of text. Why? I muttered aloud, voice low. Why would you do this? Was I not enough? The silence was suffocating. I wanted to scream, to throw the phone, to demand an explanation. But I didn't. I couldn't. Not yet. Instead, I sat there, heart pounding, staring at the woman I thought I knew. The woman smiling in the next room, blissfully unaware, or pretending to be. And in that moment, I realized nothing would ever be the same. My life, my trust, my love, it had all been a perfect illusion. I stood in the living room, phone still warm from the messages I had seen. My hands trembled as I tried to steady my voice. We need to talk. Now. She looked up from the couch, calm, like nothing had happened. Talk about what? I clenched my fists. Don't play dumb with me. I saw the texts. Oh, those. She leaned back lazily. I was wondering when you'd find out. Wondering. My voice cracked. You've been lying to me, to Jamie, to everyone. How could you? She shrugged, like it was nothing. I didn't lie. I explored my options. I didn't plan for you to find out. I took a step closer, anger rising like a tide. Explored your options. That's your excuse. How long? Long enough for me to realize you wouldn't understand. Her tone was almost teasing, and it made my stomach twist. Not understand. I trusted you with everything. My life, my heart, our child. I shouted, my voice echoing against the walls. She rolled her eyes. You think this is about trust? It's about me. I'm unhappy, and I needed something else. I can't lie, I never wanted to hurt you. I swallowed hard, trying not to throw the vase next to me. Do you hear yourself? You're destroying everything and calling it honesty. I don't expect you to understand, she said softly. You never do. I sank onto the couch, head in my hands. I don't understand. I thought we were partners. I thought we were a family. You thought wrong, she said, standing and pacing. I've been stuck in a life I didn't choose. I needed freedom. She paused, voice dripping with condescension. You can't cage me, ever. I felt bile rise, humiliation mixing with heartbreak. Cage you? I loved you. Every moment, every dream, every stupid little plan we made. And this, I gestured wildly at the room. This betrayal is your freedom. I didn't ask for your approval, she shot back. I live my life for me now. I couldn't speak for a moment. The betrayal burned so sharply it felt physical. And what about Jamie? You've been lying in front of him. She hesitated, just a flicker of guilt. I didn't mean to drag him into it. You didn't mean to. You've already broken him. I shook my head, trying to contain the trembling in my voice. The next days were a blur of angry phone calls and whispered conversations. My close friend came over, concern written across his face. Man, I can't believe she did this, he said, pacing. I mean, did you see the signs before? I didn't. I thought. I trusted her completely, I muttered, running a hand through my hair. Every smile, every word, was it all fake? He shook his head. Some people are good at pretending. But you have to focus on yourself now. Don't let her ruin you. I don't know if I can, I admitted. Every memory feels like a lie. I can't even look at Jamie without thinking, without hating what she's done. You won't hate him, he said firmly. He's innocent. She's the problem. I nodded, but the heaviness didn't lift. Then came the call from the lawyer, calm and methodical. Mr. Ahmed, the voice said. I understand you're going through a difficult time. I can help you navigate the divorce process. I don't know what to do, I whispered. She filed for it today. I feel powerless. Take a deep breath, the lawyer said. We'll go step by step. You have rights, and you'll have a say in custody, assets, and more. You're not alone. I don't know if I can trust anyone right now, I muttered, feeling the weight of betrayal settle over me like a fog. You can trust me, he said calmly. Focus on yourself. We'll handle the rest. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. Everything I had built, every plan I had made, every bit of love I had poured into my marriage, it felt like ashes in my hands. And yet, somewhere deep inside, a small ember of resolve sparked. I didn't know how, but I would survive this. Somehow. I had to. Because the woman I loved had destroyed not just our marriage but the very foundation of my life. And I needed to rebuild it, even if she had no place in my future. I couldn't sleep. The house was silent, but my mind refused to follow suit. Every creak, every whisper of the wind, felt like a reminder of her betrayal. Dad? Jamie's small voice pulled me from my thoughts. I'm awake, buddy. I forced a smile, though my chest felt heavy. Mom said, are you mad at her? I froze. Why would I be mad at her? I tried to keep my tone light, but the question cut deep. 'Cause you look sad, he said, eyes wide. You've been sad a lot. I swallowed. It's complicated, buddy. Sometimes adults have problems that aren't easy to fix. He frowned. Can we fix it? I bent down and held his tiny hands. We'll try, okay? We'll figure it out together. Later that day, I called my closest friend. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop feeling empty. You have every right to feel that way, he said. But bro, wallowing won't help. You have to find some ground to stand on. I don't know where to start, I admitted. I feel betrayed, humiliated, and like everything I believed in was a lie. Start small. Talk to someone who gets it. Or someone trained to help. You don't have to do this alone. The thought of a therapist made me uneasy, but I knew he was right. I made an appointment with Dr. Qureshi. So, tell me what's been happening, Dr. Qureshi said calmly as I slumped into the chair. I exhaled, voice tight. My wife, she's cheating. I saw messages. And now she's filing for divorce. I can't sleep, I can't eat. I feel broken. She nodded, eyes steady. It's natural to feel shattered after betrayal. But these feelings don't define you. You're grieving, but you can still regain control. How? I asked, voice barely a whisper. Every memory feels like a lie. Every smile, every plan, gone. You start by acknowledging the pain. Then, you reclaim pieces of your life, your time, your thoughts, your emotions. You'll have setbacks. That's normal. I left the office feeling both heavier and lighter. The words echoed in my mind, reclaim pieces of your life. But what did that even mean? At home, Jamie tugged on my sleeve. Daddy, will you play with me? I forced a smile. Of course, champ. What do you want to play? Legos. His eyes sparkled. For a moment, the weight on my chest lifted. His innocence, his trust, reminded me why I needed to stay strong. Later, I caught myself staring at her photo on my phone, feeling anger flare up, then melt into despair. How did I not see it? I muttered. Was I blind? Or, too trusting? I thought of every fight we'd had, every compromise I made, wondering if it meant nothing. The room felt smaller, my chest tighter. My phone buzzed. A message from my friend, don't let her ruin you. Fight. Not for revenge, but for yourself and Jamie. I stared at the words. He was right. I could let this destroy me, or I could use it as a turning point. That night, I sat on the edge of Jamie's bed after tucking him in. I'll be okay, buddy. We'll get through this. He yawned. I know, Daddy. You're strong. His simple faith in me felt like a spark. Maybe I could survive this. Maybe I could rebuild. I realized then that the choice wasn't whether I could recover. The choice was whether I would let her betrayal define the rest of my life, or whether I would fight to reclaim it. And I decided, I wouldn't let her win. Not completely. I sat at my desk, staring at the spreadsheet in front of me, but my mind was somewhere else entirely. The betrayal still burned, but for the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of control. You okay, Ahmed? My new colleague, Sarah, asked, tilting her head. Yeah, I guess. I rubbed my temples. Just thinking. You've been thinking a lot lately. She paused, then added softly, about her. I flinched but nodded. It's impossible not to. Everything feels broken. Sarah leaned back, folding her arms. I know it's painful, but you can't let it paralyze you. You're stronger than you think. Focus on what you can control. I don't even know where to start, I admitted. I've lost so much, my trust, my family, my life as I knew it. Start small, she said, with that calm confidence some people seem to naturally have. One step at a time. Work. Friends. Even little victories matter. And you're not alone, lean on people willing to help. I took a deep breath. You're right. I can't sit here waiting for my life to fix itself. That night, I called my friend again. I've decided. I'm done letting her define me. I'm taking control. For Jamie, for me, for what's left of my life. Finally, he said. About time. What's the first step? I'm focusing on myself, work, health, new connections. Maybe even exposing her lies, but carefully. I won't stoop to anger. I'll let the truth do the talking. He chuckled. Smart move. Karma doesn't need you to push it, it'll find her. Meanwhile, rebuild. Show her what she underestimated. Over the next few weeks, I threw myself into work. Meetings, projects, deadlines, it all became a way to channel the chaos in my chest. Sarah checked in constantly. You've been killing it in the meetings, she said one afternoon, sliding a coffee across the table. I see her underestimating you even now, and you're proving her wrong every day. I smiled, a genuine one this time. Thanks. Feels good to accomplish something without constantly thinking about betrayal. And don't forget Jamie, she added. He notices when you're strong. He'll remember that more than anything. I know, I said, thinking of his little face, trusting me completely despite everything. He's my reason. Then came a whisper of tension. I ran into her new partner at a work event. He didn't introduce himself properly, just smirked. Ahmed, still pretending everything's fine. I forced a calm smile. I'm just here to do my work. That's all that matters. He scoffed. Funny, she always said you'd never see this coming. I clenched my jaw but walked away. Letting him see my anger would only give him power. My choice was control, not chaos. Later, Sarah noticed the tension. Ignore him. He's irrelevant. Focus on your growth. I will, I said, repeating it to myself as much as to her. I won't let them shake me. Not anymore. At home, Jamie bounded into the living room. Daddy! Look what I drew. I knelt and took the crayon masterpiece. Wow, buddy. This is amazing. You're really talented. He beamed. You think so? I know so. And you know what? We're going to make the rest of our life amazing too. You and me. His little fist pumped the air. Yeah. Team Dad. I laughed, something I hadn't done freely in weeks. That night, I sat alone on the balcony, phone in hand, reflecting. I was scared, but I was moving forward. I could feel the weight lifting, little by little. I texted Sarah, thanks. For everything. I don't know how I'd do this without your advice. Her reply came instantly, you're stronger than you think. Keep going. Don't look back. I stared out at the city lights, breathing in the night air. I was making a choice, a deliberate, conscious decision, to reclaim my life. For Jamie. For me. For my own sense of dignity. And I knew, deep down, she had underestimated me. That mistake would be hers, not mine. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was beginning to thrive. I heard from a mutual friend that she was starting to stumble. I didn't seek it out, but the news trickled in anyway. Ahmed, did you hear what happened at her office? My friend asked over lunch. What? I tried to keep my voice neutral. She was called out in a meeting. Some of her colleagues knew about her lies. They're questioning her integrity. I blinked. Seriously? Already? Yep. Apparently, she's been fabricating reports, taking credit for work she didn't do. People are noticing. I leaned back, a mix of satisfaction and unease stirring. I don't know if I should feel relieved or guilty for feeling this way. You've done nothing to provoke it, he said. It's natural consequences. Let karma run its course. Later that evening, I overheard a conversation between her friends at a cafe. Did you hear about her presentation yesterday? One whispered. She completely flopped, another said. And some of her lies came to light. People are losing trust in her. I sipped my coffee, hiding a smirk. She'd built this carefully polished image, and now it was cracking. The next day, I ran into one of her colleagues at the park. Ahmed, she said cautiously, glancing around. I didn't know you'd see this. She's really struggling. I've heard, I said. Seems like she underestimated people. Including me, apparently. She's anxious, flustered. She's not handling things well. I nodded. I imagine it's hard to maintain a facade when cracks are showing everywhere. Meanwhile, I felt a shift in myself. I was calmer, more focused. My projects at work were thriving. My confidence was growing. Sarah noticed. You've changed, she said, smiling. More composed. People are responding to that. You're thriving while she's unraveling. I laughed softly. I guess seeing the consequences unfold naturally is satisfying. But I don't want to interfere. That's her choice. You're doing it right, she said. Control what you can, ignore what you can't. Let the universe handle the rest. At home, Jamie tugged on my sleeve. Daddy, Mommy seemed upset at school today. Is she okay? I crouched to his level. I don't know, buddy. Sometimes adults have problems they need to solve on their own. But we're okay, right? Right, he said, squeezing my hand. His innocence reminded me why I couldn't let her chaos affect our little world. Later that night, I found myself scrolling through messages she'd mistakenly left visible on a shared tablet. Anxiety and panic leapt off the screen in her words. I can't believe this is happening, why now? They're going to find out. I whispered to myself, she's unraveling, and she did this to herself. Still, I questioned whether to intervene. I picked up my phone, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Should I tell someone? No. I put it down. Karma was working. I didn't need to accelerate it. Watching her falter, listening to colleagues doubt her, it was enough. The next morning, I ran into another mutual friend. She's been defensive lately. Snapping at people, blaming everyone but herself. I nodded. I can see why. People like that eventually face the consequences. She's no exception. You seem calm about it, my friend said, surprised. I have to be, I said firmly. For Jamie. For me. I can't let her mistakes poison my life anymore. And in that moment, I realized the first signs of karma weren't just about her, they were about me too. They reminded me that I could survive this, rise above it, and reclaim my life. The storm she created was crumbling around her, and I was finally standing on solid ground again. Jamie tugged on my sleeve as I was checking emails. Daddy. Yes, champ. I looked down at his curious eyes. Mommy, she told me something at school today, he said, hesitating. She said. I shouldn't tell you, but she didn't tell the truth about, when she's upset. I froze. Slow down, buddy. What exactly did she say? He looked confused, trying to find the right words. She she said that you're not a good dad sometimes. And that you don't notice things, but she's not always honest either. I blinked, stunned. She told you that? Jamie nodded solemnly. I don't like it. I told her. I think it's not true. I want to tell you. My heart pounded. Part of me wanted to scream at her, part of me wanted to protect Jamie from the fallout. I appreciate you telling me, buddy. That's very brave of you. But. Daddy, should I tell everyone? He asked, wide-eyed. No, Jamie. Not everyone, I said carefully, crouching to his level. Some things are private. But it's important we know the truth, okay? He nodded, trusting me completely. Okay. You're the best daddy. Later, I ran into her at a school event. The moment our eyes met, I sensed her tension. Ahmed, she said, voice tight. We need to talk. I folded my arms. Do we? Or do you need to explain to me what Jamie just told me? Her face paled. Jamie, he said something. What did he say? I let a slow breath escape. He said you weren't always honest with him. That you've been telling him things, about me, that aren't true. Her eyes darted, guilt flashing for the first time in weeks. I didn't mean to. You didn't mean to lie, or you didn't mean to get caught? I asked sharply. She swallowed, avoiding my gaze. It's complicated. It's simple. You lied. And now, the truth is coming out anyway, I said. I didn't want Jamie involved, she whispered. I thought it would be easier. Easier for you, not for him, I replied quietly. My voice shook, but I held it steady. He's honest. He trusted me. And now you've put him in the middle. She stepped back, looking like a cornered animal. Ahmed. I don't need your excuses, I interrupted. The consequences are already happening. You underestimated the truth, and it's unfolding naturally. I left before she could respond, feeling a mix of anger and relief. Jamie's honesty had done what months of arguments could not. At home that night, I talked with him again. Jamie, you did the right thing today. You told me what you saw and heard. That's very brave. I just wanted you to know, Daddy, he said. I don't like it when Mommy lies. It makes me confused. I know, buddy. And it's okay to feel that way. You're very smart, and your feelings matter. He leaned against me. Will she get into trouble? I paused. I don't want to hurt anyone unnecessarily. But sometimes, when people lie, the truth has its own way of coming out. And it's important that we're honest with each other, always. He nodded solemnly. I will, Daddy. I promise. I watched him fall asleep that night and felt a strange satisfaction. The seeds of justice were already planted, not by my doing, but by the honesty of someone pure and innocent. Karma was unfolding on its own. Yet, I grappled with a dilemma. Should I expose her publicly? Use this revelation as leverage? Part of me wanted to, part of me burned with the desire to see her face the consequences fully. But I realized something. Jamie's innocence had to be protected. My actions would always prioritize him, not my pride or desire for revenge. Instead, I resolved to let the truth play out naturally. Every lie she told, every deception, would reveal itself in time. And I would stay strong, letting her unravel while I rebuilt my life with integrity. I whispered to myself in the dark, the truth doesn't need me to push it. It will find its way. And I will rise above it. For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of hope, not for revenge, but for justice, clarity, and peace. Jamie had reminded me that honesty, even from the smallest voice, could move mountains. And that was enough for me to keep fighting, not for her, not for the past, but for our future. I sat in the corner office, sunlight spilling across my desk, and finally felt peace. Not complete, not yet, but a sense of control I hadn't had in months. Sarah leaned against the doorway. "You've changed, Ahmed. You're commanding every room you walk into. Even the board noticed today." I smiled, trying to hide the satisfaction. Feels good to be recognized for actual work instead of being distracted by chaos. "Chaos?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "You mean her?" I nodded. "Exactly. And it's ironic. While she's spiraling, I'm finally thriving." "You've earned it," Sarah said. "And Jamie, he's lucky to have a dad like you right now." I rubbed my temple. I just keep thinking about how differently things could have gone. I could have let everything fall apart. But instead, I built something stronger. Later, my friend called. "Ahmed. I saw the news. That project you led? Massive success. You're unstoppable." "Thanks," I said, trying to sound modest. "It's satisfying to see results after all the months of effort." "Must feel sweet," he laughed. "Especially after everything she put you through." I exhaled. "It does. Not revenge, not exactly, but justice, in its own way." At home, Jamie tugged my sleeve. "Daddy. Mommy called me today," she sounded weird. I crouched beside him. "Weird how?" She was angry. Sad. "I don't know. She keeps asking questions about me and you." I nodded, careful to keep calm. People react differently when they're stressed. "But remember, buddy, we stick to honesty. You don't need to carry her worries." Jamie grinned. "Okay, Daddy. I like it when we're honest." The next week, I ran into one of her old colleagues at a cafe. She looked uncomfortable, glancing around before speaking. "Ahmed, how have you been?" she asked cautiously. I smiled politely. "I've been focusing on what I can control. And it's paying off." She hesitated. I just wanted to say, people are talking. About her. Her lies, her manipulations, it's catching up." I nodded slowly. "I've noticed." She underestimated how resilience works. She thought she could crumble me, and she miscalculated. "She's fragile," the colleague said. "More than you realize." "I'm aware," I said softly. "And I don't need to push it. Karma has its own pace." Sarah came over later, eyes sparkling. "Dinner tonight? Celebrate the project's success." "I'd love to," I said, thinking of Jamie, the little celebrations that kept me grounded, the reminders that life could be joyful again. At dinner, friends laughed and shared stories. To Ahmed, someone toasted. For surviving, thriving, and proving that integrity always wins. I raised my glass, heart full. To moving forward. Not for revenge, but for growth. For ourselves. Everyone cheered. I looked at Jamie, who smiled proudly. "That's my daddy," he whispered. Later that night, I reflected on the contrast. She was unraveling, calls ignored, friends distant, colleagues skeptical. And I was calm, centered, recognized for my work, respected, loved by my son. I whispered to myself, the power shift isn't just about success. It's about control, dignity, and integrity. The texts I glanced at from her ex-colleagues were telling. She's unstable, never trustworthy, how could she lie so much? And yet, I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The satisfaction came quietly, internally, from knowing the truth had its own way of unfolding. Jamie yawned, curling against me on the couch. "Daddy. I'm glad we're together," he murmured. "Me too, buddy," I said, stroking his hair. "Me too." The city lights outside glimmered, a reflection of the life I was finally reclaiming. Each decision, each victory, small or large, built a foundation she could never shake. And in that quiet moment, I realized something powerful: the world hadn't just shifted in my favor because of karma. It had shifted because I chose to rise, to take control, and to refuse to be broken. The calm in my chest was not arrogance, it was proof. Proof that even after betrayal, humiliation, and loss, I could regain my life completely. And nothing she could do would change that. I heard the rumors first from a colleague. "Ahmed, did you hear about her?" I raised an eyebrow. "About her?" "She tried to spin the project results yesterday. Everyone saw through it. Her credibility is gone." I leaned back, letting a quiet satisfaction wash over me. Karma was working, without me lifting a finger. Later, I ran into one of her old friends at the park. "She's desperate," the friend whispered. "Calling everyone, blaming everyone. People are starting to avoid her." I nodded slowly. "I've noticed. It seems her attempts to control situations are failing." "She even tried to explain to Jamie that things were my fault," the friend said, shaking her head. Poor kid looked confused. I felt a pang, remembering my son's honesty. He sees through it already. That's what matters. The next morning, I saw her at the school gate. Her smile was forced, tense. I walked up cautiously. "Ahmed," she said, tone tight. "Can we talk? Do we need to?" I asked evenly. "I've heard enough from other sources. Seems your explanations aren't convincing anyone anymore." Her lips trembled. "It's not like that. I just what?" I pressed. "You lied, manipulated, and tried to control everything, and now it's unraveling. How does it feel to be exposed?" She looked down, voice breaking. I didn't want this. I didn't plan to hurt anyone." "You didn't want to, or you didn't expect the consequences?" I asked sharply. I don't know," she whispered. Her facade crumbling, I could see the real fear beneath it. I took a deep breath. "It's simple. Honesty matters. Manipulation only works until the truth catches up. And the truth is catching up." "Ahmed, please," she said, almost pleading. "I didn't know it would get this bad." I shook my head. "You underestimated resilience. You underestimated integrity. That's your mistake, not mine." Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, panic flashing across her face. They're calling, questioning everything I've done. My colleagues, my friends, everyone's doubting me." I nodded quietly. "And yet, you try to fix it by lying again. The more you fight, the worse it becomes." She finally sank onto the bench, hands over her face. I never thought it would be this public. "Consequences rarely are," I said gently. "But this isn't punishment. This is life correcting itself. You chose the actions, you live with them." Her eyes lifted, glimmering with guilt and regret. "Ahmed. I'm sorry." I hesitated. A part of me wanted to lecture, to make her feel the humiliation she caused. But I remembered Jamie. I remembered my own integrity. "I accept your apology," I said slowly. "But it doesn't erase what's been done. You have to face it yourself." She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. I will. I understand now. I was selfish. I was blind. I hope you learned something," I said quietly. "Because excuses and lies won't rebuild trust. They only destroy it further." She didn't argue. She just looked at me, broken, finally exposed to the world as she truly was. I walked away, feeling a strange mix of empathy and satisfaction. She had hurt so many people, but now the weight of her actions rested solely on her. She couldn't manipulate or charm her way out anymore. At home, Jamie tugged on my sleeve. "Daddy, is she okay?" I crouched to his level. "She'll survive, buddy. But she has to learn the hard way, just like everyone does sometimes." He nodded thoughtfully. "I hope she's honest now." "So do I, champ," I said, ruffling his hair. "But we focus on honesty here. That's what matters for us." As I tucked him in, I realized something. Justice wasn't about revenge, it was about letting truth unfold naturally. Watching her unravel was not cruelty. It was the consequence of choices, and in that, there was a strange, quiet satisfaction. For the first time in months, I felt fully free. The betrayal had ended, not with my doing, but with reality itself correcting the imbalance. And I finally believed that life, when guided by integrity, always finds a way to balance the scales. It started with Jamie tugging on my sleeve one afternoon. "Daddy, can I tell them?" "Tell who, champ?" I asked cautiously, sensing what he meant. "The truth. About Mommy. About the lies." I swallowed hard. "Are you sure? It's a lot for people to hear." Jamie nodded firmly. "I have to. I don't like it when people lie. I want everyone to know." I hesitated, but then I realized, he was right. Truth had to be spoken. "Okay, buddy. We'll do it together. But remember, we stay calm and honest, nothing else." We arrived at my parents' house that evening. Extended family had gathered for dinner, unaware of the storm about to unfold. My ex-wife's face lit up, thinking she was in control, but I could see the tension beneath. Jamie stepped forward, holding my hand. "Everyone. I need to say something." She stiffened. "Jamie, what are you?" "Mommy told me not to, but I have to," he said firmly. "She lied to me and to Daddy. She said things that weren't true about him. I know the truth, and I want everyone to hear it." Gasps filled the room. My ex-wife's hand flew to her mouth. "Jamie, stop. You don't understand. Stop lying." Jamie's voice trembled but stayed strong. "I see everything. You told me Daddy wasn't good enough, that he didn't care, but he does. He's the best daddy ever." I felt my chest tighten, a mix of pride and relief. "Jamie, thank you. That was very brave." "My son speaks truth," I said, voice firm yet calm. "And it's time the truth is heard. Mommy's choices, her lies, they've hurt people. And now, they're out in the open." "Ahmed," she whispered, voice shaking. "Please, this isn't fair." "Fair?" I echoed. "Is it fair that you betrayed trust, manipulated everyone, and tried to control a child's perception?" The fairness ended when the lies began. Family members murmured among themselves, some nodding, some wide-eyed in shock. "I can't believe this," one aunt said. "She always seemed so perfect," another whispered. I turned to them, calm now, grounded. Appearances are deceiving. Integrity isn't about charm or smiles. It's about honesty, responsibility, and accountability. And today, the accountability is real. My ex-wife sank into a chair, face pale, hands trembling. I didn't mean for it to go this far," she said, almost pleading. "You didn't mean for the consequences, maybe," I said quietly, "but that doesn't erase the choices you made. The truth doesn't need your intention, it just exists, and now it's revealed." Jamie squeezed my hand. "I just wanted everyone to know Daddy is honest. He never lied." I smiled at him. "And that's the point. Truth matters. Integrity matters. And it always finds a way to come out, no matter how hard someone tries to hide it." She looked at him, tears in her eyes, finally seeing the impact of her actions. I'm sorry, Jamie. I didn't realize. I was wrong. He nodded solemnly. You were. But now you have to face it. Everyone does. The room fell silent, the weight of reality settling. I felt an unexpected calm sweep over me. The betrayal, the lies, the humiliation, they had all led to this moment of clarity. Justice wasn't about punishment, it was about truth being recognized. I whispered to myself, more than to anyone else, we endured. We survived. And now, truth has its place. Jamie looked up at me, eyes shining. Daddy, it's done, right? Yes, buddy. It's done. And we're free from the lies now. Free to live honestly and boldly. I felt a release, an emotional weight lifting. The vindication wasn't just for me, it was for Jamie, for every moment stolen by deceit, for the clarity that comes when truth finally wins. And as my ex-wife sat, finally exposed to those she tried to manipulate, I realized that the story of betrayal had ended, not with revenge, but with the natural, undeniable triumph of honest. I sat on the porch, Jamie playing nearby, and let the evening sun warm my face. The air smelled like fresh beginnings, though the past lingered in quiet corners of my mind. Sitting out here, Daddy? Jamie asked, kicking a small pebble. Yeah, buddy. Thinking, I replied. Thinking about everything we've been through. He nodded thoughtfully. It's been a lot, hasn't it? I smiled softly. It has. But it also taught me a lot about who I am, and who we can be. Like what? He asked, tilting his head. I chuckled. Resilience, honesty, and that we don't need anyone to define our worth. Even when people betray you, you can rise above it. Jamie grinned. That sounds like a superpower. Exactly, I said, ruffling his hair. And you helped me see it. You've been my truth compass this whole time. Later, Sarah called. Ahmed, you're glowing. I saw the new project launch, everyone is talking about your leadership. I laughed. Feels good to succeed without the chaos hanging over me. It's freeing. Good for you, she said warmly. You deserve this. I nodded, but my thoughts drifted to her, my ex-wife. I hadn't spoken to her since the family gathering. She had faced the consequences fully, colleagues doubting her, friends distancing themselves, and the community aware of her lies. I didn't feel anger anymore, only a quiet understanding. Do you ever think about Mommy? Jamie asked suddenly, tugging on my sleeve. I paused. Sometimes. But it's not about her anymore, buddy. It's about us, about living honestly and happily. Jamie smiled. I like that. I thought about all the late nights, the doubts, the anger, the tears. I thought about the betrayal, the isolation, the heavy weight of being lied to. And now, after months of struggle, I realized something important. The pain had shaped me, but it hadn't broken me. The phone buzzed. My mentor, Mr. Khan, texted, proud of your growth. You handled everything with integrity. Remember, resilience outlasts revenge. I smiled and replied, thanks. I finally understand that. It's not about hurting anyone, it's about being whole. Sarah dropped by later with coffee. Ahmed, you're smiling without a hint of tension. It's nice to see you like this. I feel light, I admitted. I've reclaimed my life, my dignity, and my future. And most importantly, I've done it without becoming bitter. Karma handled itself. She nodded. That's true strength. Jamie tugged my sleeve again. Daddy, can we go for ice cream tomorrow? I laughed. Of course, buddy. Let's celebrate life, honesty, and everything we've built together. As I watched Jamie run ahead, carefree and innocent, I reflected on the journey. Betrayal had been painful, humiliation intense, but the lessons were priceless. I had learned patience, the power of truth, and the value of self-respect. I whispered to myself, I am stronger than I ever imagined. I survived. I grew. And I am ready for the future. Even when my ex-wife's shadow crossed my mind, it no longer carried anger. Instead, it reminded me of the strength I'd gained, the clarity I'd earned, and the life I had rebuilt. Friends, colleagues, and mentors had been part of this transformation too, silent witnesses to my growth, cheering quietly, offering support when needed, illustrating what it truly meant to rise above betrayal. Sitting there on the porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon, I felt a profound sense of closure. Life had restored balance, not through vengeance, but through honesty, resilience, and karmic truth. Jamie ran back, holding a dandelion. "Daddy, look." I took it from him, inhaling the delicate scent, and smiled. "Beautiful, isn't it? Just like life, sometimes fragile, sometimes strong, but always worth treasuring." He grinned. "Can we plant it?" "Absolutely," I said. "And we'll watch it grow. Together." For the first time in months, I felt fully free, heart healed, mind clear, and soul at peace. The past had shaped me, the betrayal had tested me, but now, with my son by my side and life unfolding honestly, I was ready to embrace the future with hope, courage, and unshakable strength.